good morning, and welcome to our next tutorial for Adobe Photoshop for Year 9 Multimedia. In today's tutorial, I'm just going to show you some really cool but basic features built into Photoshop. I know typically when you think of Photoshop, the first thing you want to do is probably to Photoshop yourself to be somewhere you're not. That's a pretty cool thing that we will get to. But for now, I'm just going to show you how to just genuinely make your images that you have look nicer while showing you a little bit more about how the layers work. So to get started, make sure you've downloaded the tutorial file that I've shared with you. It's a JPEG image. Its name is 140426. So that's just the name of the image we're going to be working with today. Open yourself in Photoshop, File, Open this time, not New, and we're going to open that image directly. I've got mine saved on the desktop. You can see there it is on my computer screen. Select that one and click Open. Now, as soon as you open up, Photoshop will have automatically picked a size that matches directly for that image and has loaded the image into your layer panel. You see on the right hand side where the layers are, you'll see that we have our layers listed, and there is only one layer listed. It's called background and it's got a little lock. Now, every time you open an image like this, or if you create a new file and you look at the very first layer, the first layer is usually called background and it usually has a padlock. Now it basically just says, it's Photoshop's way of saying, hey, usually people don't want to edit the original, so we're going to lock that original so that no one can make any changes to it, and we can't change the order. It will always be at the bottom of the layers. It's not always the case for us, so I want you to double click on it. It gives us the opportunity to rename, and we're going to rename this and call it Original. The reason we're calling it Original is because I'm going to show you some adjustments, and this is going to be an original version of that adjustment. Okay, you can see the padlock has been removed because we've renamed it. And so now we have the freedom to start playing with those features. If that's the original and we're going to make some changes, I want you to create a copy. So right click on that, and I want you to, in the options that are available here, there's a huge number of options. I just want you to press duplicate layer. And I'll say, what do you want to call this? For this one, let's just start by calling it auto tone. That's the first technique I'm going to show you. You'll understand why we're calling it auto tone for now. And click OK. You'll see we now have two layers in our layer panel, original on the bottom, auto tone on the top. Now remember, layers work like a sandwich. Okay, everything you put on your image is a layer. The layer that's on the top is the layer that you can see. Anything underneath, if you're looking from the top of the sandwich, you can't see anything inside of your sandwich until you turn off or remove that top layer. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Things that are on bottom layers you usually can't see unless you've got all sorts of weird shapes sitting on top of each other. Okay, so we've got auto tone. We're going to duplicate again, so right click, duplicate, okay, duplicate layer, and this time we're going to call auto color. Okay, now got three layers, and we're going to duplicate one more time. This time, I'm just going to give you the keyboard shortcut. You can use the menu option, right click, duplicate layer if you want, but for me, I just press Command J and it duplicates. But when you press that option, it doesn't let you rename. So you just double click to rename, and this time we're going to call it auto contrast. But Command J is a really quick, easy way to get yourself another copy of the layer. So I've now got four versions of the images. I'm going to turn off the original, turn off auto tone, turn off auto color, and leave auto contrast on with the eyeball. And you'll see it's selected because it's got the light gray coloring. All the others have the dark gray. That means auto contrast is selected. With that layer selected, I'm going to the image menu. I'm going to select auto contrast. And you'll see it's made some changes to the images. Okay? That's one of the auto features built in. So if you've got an image and it's a little bit washed out and doesn't really look like it's got the right color that you want, okay, auto contrast is one of the ones that you can do. Now keep in mind this image is still a blurry image. It's not improving the clarity of the image. It's just playing around. With some of the different levels that are sitting in the background. Let's turn that eyeball off and turn the eyeball on for auto color. Make sure you've selected auto color, image, auto color. Turn that off, auto tone, select that, image, auto tone. Okay, we've now got three different auto features that we've turned on. Let's look at our original now. And with our original turned on, let's turn auto tone on to compare. And you can turn it on and off to compare. Look at what it's done there. It's made a huge difference to the quality of that image. Okay, and I'm way more likely to use that now. This is sort of like if you think about when you're taking a photo on Instagram and you have those custom filters that you can put over top of your images. This is kind of like those filters. They're preset levels that enable you to change things. In this case, we're just effectively getting rid of that sort of toaster filter, aren't we? Okay. Leave auto turn off. This time just turn on auto color. Okay. And you can see the difference that makes. Now you might be thinking auto tone and auto color are the same. I want you to make sure all three are turned on now. Just turn off auto color this time. And if you're flicking between the two, very subtle differences. You'll see them on your screen, but when I've got auto tone on and auto color off, it looks a little bit more blue in the sky, but then when I turn the auto color on, the sky sort of picks up a little bit more of an orangey color. Okay. Have a play with auto contrast. Okay. You'll see auto contrast is still more vibrant than the original, but compare it to auto color, there's not much benefit there. Compare it to auto tone, completely different. Okay, so these are three built-in features. They're automatically adjusting, and you can use them for almost any image. Now, if your image already has really good levels, then using these auto features, you might not get much of a difference at all. So don't be surprised if nothing comes up there. I'm going to give you an example here. I have an image just sitting on my clipboard. I'm going to paste that image in. Here's just another image that I've got sitting here. You see it's really quite washed out. You can sort of see there's some colors. If I do auto tone, wow, what a difference that makes. If I do auto color, it almost looks like an original image as opposed to this really washed out. Auto contrast doesn't really make much of a difference. So depending on the image you're using, you will actually end up with different effects of which of those auto features is best for you. So I want you to have a play around with this image. Okay, show me that you can do it. I want to see all four layers. Turn off the ones you don't like. Turn on the one you do like. Save it. Okay, file save. For today's tutorial, I don't want you to save it as a JPEG. We've done that in the past. I just want you to save it as a Photoshop file. If you save it as a Photoshop file and you send it to me, I can open it. I can see that you've got all those different layers there, and I can change it later on if I want to as well. So a Photoshop file is editable by anyone that has Photoshop. So if I made a Photoshop file, sent it to you, you would also be able to edit. I want you to name it with your surname. Okay, so for me, I'm putting Dwyer.psd, that stands for Photoshop document. Save it and upload that to our Google Classroom for activity 1 today. Well done.